Hey, you guys, just want to share an amazing opportunity with you. We have the 5-day Business Accelerator Challenge starting on March 23rd, 2022. Now, interestingly enough, 2 years ago, I launched a digital summit with zero experience. We managed to generate 2,147 leads, be on the front. I was on the front cover of a huge US magazine and able to generate over £50,000 worth of new income in less than 7 weeks from start to launch. Like I said, zero experience. And what we're going to be doing during this challenge is I'm going to share the secrets about how you can run your own summit. Now, I don't know about you, but do you ever feel like you're great at what you do, but you're also the best kept secret in the world? Well, that was me before I started running summits. Now, guess what? What you need is visibility, but there are speaking events out there. There's podcasts out there. There's lives. There's YouTube. But the problem is that you're competing in such a competitive space, and it's easy to go unnoticed. What you need is huge visibility, but you also need to create your own opportunities. And we're going to teach you. We're going to give you the framework about how you can go about doing that. Now, listen. None of the gurus are teaching you any of this. None of the big guys are teaching you any of this. This is a challenge that is going to be absolutely epic on so many levels. I'm going to be bringing in some of my friends who are some of the best thought leaders in the world. We're going to be sharing with you how to build your vision, how to create your message, how to piggyback off of influencers' brands in order to build your own brand. I'm going to share with you how to monetize and monetize all of this. And it's going to be absolutely epic. So for more information, click on the link below. Or what you can do is you can go to businessacceleratorchallenge.com. That's businessacceleratorchallenge.com and find out more information. But otherwise, I'll see you on the challenge, March 23rd, 2022. Take care. Bye-bye.
This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by Productivity Authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Changers Experience with myself, Adam Strong. And today we have another great show lined up. I'm actually joined on the show with a great guy from the United States called Tom Anton. And Tom is effectively an internet multi-millionaire and founder of the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the United States. Now, he's also the subject of a Hollywood documentary that comes out in the spring of 22, which is called The American Entrepreneur, which we'll talk about during the show. He's a speaker, been on the speaker circuit for quite a number of years, and I love that. He's also got a great podcast called Screw the Commute, right? I love the name of that, by the way. What we're going to be talking about today, guys, is we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the opportunities on the online space. So, for example, if you don't have any experience and you're looking to get into how you can create extra revenue streams, create semi to passive income through creating different models on the online space, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of membership sites. We're going to be talking about membership sites and how to monetize. We're going to be talking about video marketing as well. And we're going to be talking about some other bits and pieces as well. But without further ado, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam. I love a high energy guy. That's what you are.
Well, that is you, and that for me, that's important. Like, you know, energy and enthusiasm, like that's what brings our listeners from all over the world. And, you know, I'm a real big believer, like if you have a high energy, high enthusiasm, like people are kind of like, wow, it's like start of the day type thing. I don't know about you, but that's kind of how I see things. But
Yep. Let's do it, man.
Love it. So listen, I know that you've been in the internet space for quite some time, and you've never had what we call a paid job. A bit similar. Well, I can't say that I was similar, but I quit my full-time job at the age of 24, but that's still pretty young. But you've never had a job, right?
Well, I actually applied for one once, Adam. It said it had a 401k, and I said, that's a great starting salary, $401,000. No, I didn't get that job.
Oh, so funny. Very cool.
Yeah, no jobs for me. High school and college, cutting grass and stuff. But other than that, I've been before I graduated college, I owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel. So all starting with nothing. Yeah.
And this was like, wasn't this like before the age of 21? I read.
Yeah. This was in college. Yep.
Wow. And just out of curiosity, because I mean that is a big accomplishment, because I'm not being funny. I remember when I was a student, right? And for most other students that's listening into this, right? I'm sure you guys remember back in the day when you were students, if you went to university, right? You kind of be barely struggling, or you're barely raising finances. You have to take a part-time job as well as full-time study and all the busy kind of social life. But you had pretty much accomplished what most people hasn't, right? Which is insane.
Well, it wasn't that hard if you put your mind to it and focus on it. So I was reading a book. I was sitting in the middle of the student area at the college, and I'm reading this book by William Nickerson, and it was on how you turn $1,000 into $1 million in real estate. And this was long before all the no money down craze and everything. And there's some really good lessons here, Adam.
Yeah.
So I said I could do this. So I found an old lawyer that owned a threeplex, a 3 apartment building, which they rented per person in those days to the students. And he didn't want to sell it outright because he'd had to pay too much taxes. So I got him to sell it to me with no money down and just make payments. And then I came up blue collar, so I knew how to use tools and stuff. And they were remodeling the football stadium and taking out the oak seats and putting them plastic in, and they were throwing away these beautiful boards. And I said, "Can I have them?" And they said, "Yeah, we got 30,000 of them here. Take all you want."
Wow.
So I went to one of our discount stores here in the States at that time was Kmart. And I had bought a $10 circular saw, ripped these 2x6s down the middle, made 2x4s out of them, and remodeled the attic of this building to get 3 more students in there. That was another $375 a month this is in the 70s, and got the income way up. And then I did it again, found another guy to sell me a 4-plex. And then the big turning point though was I was charging more for rent to these other students than I was paying to my landlord.
That's insane.
and so he would come over to work on the house, and I'd say, "Hey Frank, I'll help you put these gutters on, but you teach me what you're doing," right? So that went on. And then he came over at the end of the semester and said, "Hey Tom, I want to talk to you." And I'm thinking, "Uh-oh, what did we do wrong?" What happened? He says, "I've been renting to students in this city for 25 years, thousands of students." He said, "Not one ever offered to help me do anything on the house and wanted to learn something about it." He says, "I own a hotel about 20 minutes from here, and I want to retire and go to Florida. I want you to have it." He said, "If you can come up with the first mortgage, I'll hold back the second mortgage," which basically means no money down in mortgage parlance.
Got it.
"And I'll teach you how to run it." So this is the first lesson is give before you get. So I was helping him with no expectations of anything to learn, and was very impressive to him. And then the second thing was persistence. I had owned these other small places, but a hotel, the banks were like shooing me away like I'm a little punk kid. And I had to go to 50 different places, and I landed the first mortgage. He held back the second, paid him off. I was making $65,000 a year in the 70s while I was still in college. Went down 1 day a week to make small repairs and pick up the rent checks. And then the city bought it out for a couple $100,000 later. I made about $500,000 from those two things: persistence to get that first mortgage, and give before you get to get the idea in the first place. So that's how I did it.
Great. I love that story. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I mean, you got into I'm fascinated how you got into the whole kind of internet world, because I mean, you were one of the, what I call one of the front runners, and saw the potential in the internet right the early days. Was that around when the .com uplift, should we say, the .com, you have the .com bust and the .com boom, but were you kind of, did you?
This was before that.
What?
This was way before that.
Way
Yeah.
before that. Okay.
The commercial internet started around 1994. At
Right.
the time, I was already a busy speaker going all over the world, and selling stuff at the back of the room, which was cassettes and books in those days. Right? If any of your listeners ever heard of that term, look it up. Google it. Look in Wikipedia to see what it is.
Oh my God.
And so when the commercial internet started to come around in 1994, I'm thinking to myself, it's hard enough to sell my stuff across the street, let alone around the world from my desktop.
Right.
I'm going to figure this out. So it was Wild West there. Nobody knew what was going on. For 2 years, I was killing myself every day in between speaking to figure it out and didn't make a nickel. And then I got good training, but from a guy named Corey Rudel, who was like the 31-year-old grandfather of internet marketing, making $5 million a year from his apartment. Now he's died in a tragic racing accident not too long ago. But anyway, that was my first teacher. And as soon as I got good training, I started making money. And it wasn't like it is now, but it was $50 a week, 100, 500, 1,000. Now it's not uncommon, $30,000 weeks. So that was the impetus basically to sell my own stuff. And then typically what happens is when you get really good at something, people beg you to teach them. And so I started what is called, I came from a comic background. You mentioned I had an entertainment company. So people were begging me to do boot camp. And I couldn't do a boot camp. I thought everybody does boot camp. So I'm sitting here making all this money, sitting on my rear end. And I thought, I'll call it butt camp. And it caught on. I've done them in 11 countries around the world, except in London, they made me call it bum camp when I did it there instead of butt camp. And it's the longest continuously running internet seminar ever. Yeah.
Love it.
Butt camp.
Love it. It's fantastic. Very cool. So let's get into the nick of that, because I know that you and I love listening to people that've got great stories, and it sounds like you've got some really good stories and you've really shared some great ones. But some of our listeners, whether it be entrepreneurs, business leaders, even people that are thinking about potentially getting into entrepreneurship, we've got a wide diversity of audience, people listening to us from around the world. But I'd love to talk a little bit about, the fact that there are so many opportunities out there compared to way back in the day in the early mid 90s. You've got Amazon, you've got eBay. You could sell a kidney on eBay, right?
Yeah, right.
Right, which is crazy. And then you've got affiliate marketing. There's just so much. You're spoiled for choice, really, aren't you? But in terms of okay, so you've piqued my interest, right? That's what people are thinking. You piqued my interest. I'm interested in potentially learning about how to make money online. What are some of the things that I need to, look at in terms of opportunities if I've got zero experience?
Got it. Well, first of all, when I did sell my kidney on eBay, I said no returns on that. All right. I said
no
only one
policies.
Yeah, only one available.
Love it.
But let's just talk about eBay, and then I'll get into the bigger picture in a moment. So I grew up very frugal. My dad came from Syria on a cattle boat in the early 1900s, had nothing. Built up, he became an entrepreneur and turned me into an entrepreneur. But I can't even brush my teeth and let the water run, because I hear my dad saying, don't waste water. You don't waste things in this world, and the same with electricity, turn the lights off, so I grew up very frugal. So I buy stuff on eBay, and we have Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp. These things. So I happened to buy a tool off of eBay. And the guy happened to be local. So I said, I'll just go pick it up. And so I go to his house, beautiful house. He's got a $500,000 motorhome out front. He comes beautifully dressed to the door, and he invites me in to go down to his shop to buy this tool. So we go down the hallway, go downstairs, and then, Adam, everything up to this point is normal. Right?
Okay.
And then as we're going to his shop, through his basement, I look over, and from the ceiling is hanging hundreds of ladies' brasiers.
What?
And I'm thinking, oh my God, he lures you in to buy a tool and then kills you and hangs your underwear. That's what I'm thinking about all this stuff. so I'm watching him like a hawk, and everything's normal. He shows me the tool. We're talking about our dads and everything. So I buy the tool and we're heading out. And of course I stay behind him because I don't want to get a hatchet to the head. And I said, I got to ask you, what are all these bras doing? He says, oh, my daughter sells them on eBay. She goes to all the thrift stores. She knows all the sizes. She buys them for, cheap and cleans them, fixes them up, repairs them, sells them on eBay.
Nice.
$200,000 a year US she's making selling used bras on eBay.
Oh, okay. Crap.
And I'm thinking to myself, darn, if I went and held a thrift stores, I'd get arrested if I hung around the bra department at thrift stores.
Love it.
So there's all kinds of opportunities. The guy that taught me was an ex-Marine to do eBay. I was a power seller on eBay for a while. And he sells used cell phones and doll heads. So
random. What?
Random. I mean, totally. So he would go to all the pawn shops. I don't know if these are the terms that work in Europe, but pawn shop, take stuff in.
Yeah.
And they said, we can't keep track of the cell phones and the chargers. He says, I'll give you $10 a piece. He had a big bucket of them. Every month he gets all these cell phones from the pawn shops, fixes them up, and sells them for $120 a piece on eBay. And the doll heads, he has little molds that he puts 10 cents worth of rubber in and sells them for $10 a piece for people that make dolls. I mean, just there's opportunity you can't believe out there. So anyway, to the bigger picture, anybody that's wants to start from scratch, you must embrace digital information products. They're 97% profit. There's virtually zero cost in creation. If you have Microsoft Word and Adobe PDF, you've got it, and then you convert it to Amazon Kindle. We don't waste their time on anything but Amazon Kindle because that's the big kahuna on ebook sales, and you have zero cost involved with 97% profit, just a little credit card fees. I wrote one book in a 4-hour layover at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas. So as of this morning, it's brought in $3.684 million, and it's a giveaway. Wow. And people say that's got to be BS. Who you think you're one of those scammers you go after in your Scammergate show? No, here's how it works. This is a good lesson for everybody. First of all, you have to understand affiliate marketing, which means you can promote somebody else's product and get a commission for it if somebody buys it. That's a simple affiliate relationship. Yep. But what the next level of that is called a residual affiliate program, which means you promote something, and if they keep buying it or leasing it or whatever the thing is, you keep getting paid. So for everybody that read that book, I taught in the book all the benefits of having this tool, but they can't get the benefits unless they buy the tool.
Right.
And actually it's a lease kind of thing. So they have to buy this service every month, and some of them have been doing it 15 years. Wow. And so that's brought in 3.68 something 4 million as of this morning, and keeps coming in anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a month if I'd have quit 10 years ago. And that's just one of the little sliver things that we do around here. It's called a residual affiliate program. So if they embrace digital marketing, their risk is really low. They don't have to quit their job and cross their fingers that they can pay the rent next month. And this stuff can be developed on the side. Now, my goal was when I teach my students is to make it too expensive for them to go to work anymore, because the time they're putting into their own stuff, instead of going and making somebody else rich, that's where Screw the Commute came about, is I've lived like 2 or 3 lives because I'm not sitting in traffic making somebody else rich or on a train somewhere.
True. Not that we do much of that in this day and age, but that's a game. I don't think we've seen much of the commute in the last couple of years.
Right.
But or should we say the traffic is a little bit light. But anyway, I'm sure that times change anyway, depending on when you're listening to this. That's really fascinating, very interesting. And so what you're talking about is information information digital products is what you're talking about, more specifically. And you mentioned books or digital books or whatever it is, but I suppose there's many different forms. There's courses,
online courses and so forth. And you can even create a highly in-demand digital product and not know a thing about the topic. I was sitting on a plane. I was in first class. I'm flying somewhere, and this guy next to me has these magazines in the seat pocket, all about go-karts. And he's like 45 years old or something. I'm thinking, I asked him, what's all this go-kart stuff? He's like, oh my God, we love them. Me and my boys, I got 3 boys, and we race them and stuff. And I said, well, how much does one cost? He said, oh, you can't get a piece of junk for $10,000. His were like $30,000 a piece for these go-karts. My mind is racing, you know. I'm thinking, so I'm thinking, if I wanted to write a book on how to buy your first racing go-kart, I would go to what we call a forum or a discussion board. These are where people congregate to talk about a particular topic. I mean, they have them on every topic, including pig farming, which I always said that as a joke. I looked it up and they have one.
They do have one.
Yeah. So I would go there and I would look at all the people that made the most comments. Sometimes it's called a senior member, or they tell you how many comments they've made. And I'd say, hey, I'm writing a book on racing go-karts. I'd like to interview you. Well, how many people do you think would turn you down? That's all they do all day long is talk about go-karts. They'd be thrilled about it. How much would they charge you for the interview? Nothing. Who would be all excited to promote your book when it came out because they're in it? Them. Who gets all the money, Adam? You do.
Exactly.
And you didn't know a thing about it. You're a publisher, basically. So you can create all kinds of information products. People are sponges for information. And a lot of people that are experts say, well, that's simple stuff. It's not to a beginner. So you got stuff in your head that you could get out and put it into information and sell it, or give it away to get that affiliate stuff that I said.
Love it. Some very cool stuff there. Very cool. Very good. I suppose my second thought is, you know, we were talking about the rat race, which again, I think is going to come back pretty soon, depending on where you are in the world, of course. How do you help employees or people that, you know, that want to escape the rat race, or entrepreneurs, right? That want to, I suppose, you know, that they're looking for something different, right? How do you educate them on turning their passions into profit? What are some of the conversations that you've had in the past, maybe with some students or whatever it is? It's like, hey, so I'm in this dead end job, or, you know, I'm kind of stuck in my entrepreneurship and I need something else that's going to spark my interest, but I've got my passion here, like whether it be fitness, whether it be healthcare or whatever it is. What's some of the things that sort of come off the back of that conversation? What sort of solutions and what sort of things do you sort of say to them off the back of that?
Well, you and I, before we started recording, talked a little bit about keywords. You were talking about your keyword usage and keywords. That's the number one thing in all the years I've been teaching this, which is close to 25 years, that people make a mistake of. They get what they think is their passion, but they don't do keyword research with the free tools that are available to tell them if anybody else on earth cares about what they care about. Sure. Because the old saying about, do what you love and the money will follow. Yeah, a little bit of money will follow you right into the poorhouse where you'll be getting food stamps, you know. So no, you have to make sure there's a demand for what you want. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be revolutionary. In fact, there's one of the factions is to find a passionate market that has money, whether you like it or not. Now, if you like it, that's where I get into making your hobbies tax deductible. So that's another way to make money, even if to shelter some of your job income, is to have another thing going on where it's a business. So we'll get into that later. But you got to find a passionate market that has money. So for instance, I'm a tennis nut. So I created a website called Fatso Tennis, because I am not the 10% body fat
oh my God,
fancy athlete that you are, right?
Right.
So I happen to be the largest person. I have this dubious distinction of being the largest person ever to create and star in a tennis training video. So if you go to Fatso Tennis, you see the trailer where I'm playing tennis and eating pizza at the same time.
Oh my God. Sounds like a series of Jackass or something. Right?
Yeah, but it's a 2-set DVD where I on part of it is all the crazy gadgets that fat people can use to get an advantage, and they're so pitiful, but they're hysterical. Like, for instance, on a tennis racket, you have the butt and the head, and so on the butt you can put this suction cup thing on.
Yep.
So that you don't have to bend over to pick up the ball. You can just push it down.
I love it.
So it's all those kinds of things. But then the other part is more serious in that I know all the angles of the court to make the other younger people run to death before I drop dead. And I was playing this 14-year-old one time, and I was 50 years old. I was playing this 14-year-olds on the tennis team.
Right.
He gets so mad, he smacks his racket down and runs off the court. His mother's chasing him. Oh, don't worry, Johnny, it's okay. And if I'd have done that when I was a kid, I'd have been running laps till I was 40 years old. But his mother says, it's okay, Johnny. So I was hitting all the shots that he's not used to as a young kid, all those old spins things and all. So the point is you can have a blast, but that site makes all my tennis stuff legitimately tax deductible in the US, and pretty much any developed country has tax deduction for business like that. So you can start by picking something you really love that is in demand. Camping, tennis, golf is a big one, archery, I mean, anything, and then make it tax deductible. Even the family interests, like maybe your kids are in soccer. Well, you go put a soccer website up, you go interview all the soccer high school coaches and get their interviews, put it into an ebook, sell it, or just find soccer related products to use as a affiliate. And now you can take off all the money you're spending on your kids for soccer. So there's all kinds of ways.
Love it. Some great stuff there. Actually, so one thought that came to my mind, because, and this kind of moves nicely into my next question, because, being an entrepreneur and kind of, I love to experiment, right? And I'm sure that you being in your years of business, you love experimenting, right? And so one of the things that we've been doing in our business is we've created like an academy or a membership or whatever it is, right? Now you've really mastered the game of this. So my question, and this is a personal question because there might be other people listening in around memberships and academies and stuff like that. How do you, from your perspective and from experience, how do you monetize your membership site, number one? But number two, how do you get more people to not just buy into the membership as such, but how do you make it so valuable that it's like kind of like cha-ching, 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 you wake up, oh shit, another, oh my God, someone else bought, oh my God. And it might only be sort of 20, 30 bucks, whatever it might be, whatever the going rate is for the membership or whatever it is. But I'd love to talk about that if that's okay.
Yeah, well, I have multiple membership sites on different topics. You don't want to lump everything in one basket because you look like a jack of all trades. So you want them to be very specific.
True.
Yeah. And one of my biggest ones is a site called Great Internet Marketing Training, and it's part of what I call my mentor program. I don't like the word coaching, and I'll tell you why. Every low life on earth wants to be your life coach who never did a thing in their whole life.
Or business coach, by the way. They might not be low life, but other than that, coaching, no.
Right. So mentor was the advisor to Odysseus in Greek mythology, and I'd rather be a trusted advisor than a coach. So that's just my little quirk there. And no stepping on toes of real professional coaches, but you're surrounded by people that just think, oh, it's easy money. I'll just get somebody that doesn't know any better and try to, so it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So in the beginning, when I started doing this, every time I would coach somebody, I would record the call. And if it was proprietary or confidential to them, I would just transcribe it and the ideas that I gave them, and then I'd put it in a membership site. So when you're getting started, there's not much in there, but now there's 25 years of stuff in there. And so what it makes it so I can handle more people legitimately. See, I have a very unique program where it's one-on-one. And I tried group coaching, and it wasn't up to my standards because I had to dummy everything down to the lowest common denominator. If I talk to an advanced person, the beginner's lost. And if I talk to the beginner, the advanced person's like, what am I doing here? So I quit that. But now, to keep myself from going crazy, saying the same stuff over and over and over again, I say, okay, here's what we want to accomplish. So I want you to go listen to this, watch this thing, and read this thing, and then report back to me, and then we'll discuss it. And so that works beautifully because I can handle more people legitimately, that I've collected this repository of information. So I have one on professional speaking. I have one on brutal self-defense based on my nightclub days when the bikers were trying to kill me. And we talk about that. And I have a protection dog company also, which is another make your hobbies tax deductible. I got two $50,000 German Shepherds in there. So if anybody wants one. Yeah. But to get people to come to them, this is the number one skill in my entire business career, long before the internet. It's advertising copywriting. There's a skill that anybody can develop to increase the want of people to buy your stuff and to show it to them. And if your stuff is really good, you're doing them a disservice by not pushing them. And I'm not saying being obnoxious. I'm just saying to push them into the point where they get your stuff. Because if you're a good person, you're going to take care of them and give them high quality stuff. You send them out on the open market, God help them. You know, who knows what's going to happen to them. I mean, you get so many people saying, oh, I wish I'd have come to you first, because they went and spent all this money with a bunch of shysters, you know. So advertising copywriting is a skill you can develop. And I'll give them one tip right now. There's a principle called the Zygarnik principle.
Okay.
Bluma Zygarnik was a Russian psychologist, psychiatrist that identified the trait of the human mind, that the human mind cannot stand unfulfilled curiosity. So if you use that principle in the subject line of your email, you will increase your open rates. And guess what? If you don't do a great job on your subject line, no matter what after that matters, because you could have the greatest product in the world, greatest sales copy in the world, but if they don't open that email, God help you. See, so you use it in the subject line. The biggest one that I ever had that I can recall is, boy, did I get in trouble. That was a subject line. So I got 100,000 email subscribers. They're like, oh, what'd he do now? They had to open it to find out, right? And I was talking about, I think I bought this crazy thing for my girlfriend. I was at the Home Depot, we call it over here. It's this giant thing where you clean up the job site. It's like a dustpan, but it's enormous. So I bought this for my girlfriend for Valentine's Day.
Yes, you do.
And so, but I didn't tell them that in the email. Once they opened the email, I said, oh boy, I had to sleep on the couch because of this thing that I bought for my girlfriend for Valentine's Day. Click here to check it out. Well, using that Zygarnik principle in the body got the click through to the website. See what I mean? So you use it in the subject line to get the open rate up, and then in the body to get the click through. That's a simple principle. You're surrounded by it every day, you know, and you're using all kinds of ways.
It's interesting because, you know, I think probably 3 years ago, I'd probably say about 3 years ago, I never really valued copy as much as it ever has done now. And I think you're really touching on some really interesting points around that, you know, and the importance of building your own database, because, you know, doesn't matter about social media and stuff like that, because they could disappear, or they could control what you, but effectively build your database. But what you're also talking about is the subject lines when you're talking to your audience and stuff. And interestingly enough, you know, especially with people that I look up to and have very good, what I call subject lines that what I call create curiosity, right? Which is going to entice more people to open it up and like, holy crap, that was definitely worth my 30 seconds of, you know, and you've got to probably take into consideration that so many people get emails so many times a day. You've got to like stand out from the crowd type thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And but never ever lie to them. Don't give them a thing and then not deliver on the inside, because then they'll never trust you.
True. Now I'm conscious of time, because I know that we're coming towards the end, but I wanted to just ask you one real quick question, actually, which was all about the importance of believability, because you touched base around, you know, some different ideas, whether it be on eBay, whether it be affiliate marketing and selling other people's products and stuff like that. How important have you found believability, especially for people that have not tested a product or service, yet they're selling it, you know, whether it be somebody else's product or service? I mean, how important is it to test drive something which you, should we say, recommend to others? I mean, what's your thoughts about this? Because I mean, it's a bit like, you know, if I recommend a restaurant queue, or I recommend like a new car or whatever it is, right? I'm going to give you my honest opinion about it, right? And then you're probably more than likely, they call it word of mouth marketing, of course, you're probably more likely to take action if more people have said good things about that product or service or whatever it is. But what's your take on about the whole kind of believability / you know, I've never tried this before type of thing? You know, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, you know, with my background with the consumer advocacy and a scam buster, I'm very skeptical of things. And I know, I know people that I've turned into the FBI that, you know, can generate enormous, enormous fake testimonials. So I'm very skeptical of that. But from my point of view, I won't promote anything unless I know for a fact that it's great. Right. Because nobody will trust me for the next recommendation, especially when people nowadays legally have to know you're making a commission off it. At least in the States, you do. So you can kill your reputation. Now, if you don't care about your reputation, yeah, you can make some money, but you're not going to be in business 44 years like me, you know, because people, the word will get around. You can't trust that person. Yeah. So even when somebody comes to me with something and wants me to do a webinar for them and promote them, they have to give me the product. I have to try it out and see what's if it's worth it or not before I'll promote it, because your reputation, see, and it gets easier. So nowadays, for at least the people that know me, if my name's on it, okay, we'll buy it, because they know that I'm not going to sell them something that's crap. See, so it gets easier over time, but it gets harder over time if you're willing to take the short-term money just to promote anything for a buck.
Because it could backfire, essentially.
Yeah, if it's, I mean, you're lucky if it's good, great. But if you're just flipping a coin to hope that it's good, and then people don't start complaining and getting mad, and they'll never, you know, listen to you again.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know that you wanted to, I know that you've got lots of things happening, you know, especially because you've been in business.
No, I got nothing to do. I just, you know.
You just kind of like, just chill out, have fun, make money, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Oh, look. Oh, by the way, darling, I just made 50 grand overnight. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, it's nothing new. Let's go to the store or whatever. Let's spend all your cash. But I know that you've got a little giveaway for our audience. Tell us a little bit about the giveaway.
Yeah, it's called How to Automate Your Business. And it's something that I've really got my students doing like crazy, because a lot of people, they operate their computer out of necessity. They never really learned how to use it and all the things that it would do for them. It's just barely get the current job done. So I use all of these tools. For instance, there's a tool called Short Keys for PC. It's called Keyboard Maestro for a Mac. And these are called macro programs. And so I was complaining to one of I keep young people around because they find this stuff for me. We estimated it a couple of years ago that it saved me 7.5 million keystrokes.
Wow.
And all it is if somebody asks me a question more than once, I make the answer into this thing called a short key. And then I can just hit G2 and it'll type in 12 paragraphs of answer like that for people. So this is a great time saver, and it also makes me lightning fast getting back to prospects and customers, which impresses the heck out of them. And if you're the first one to get back to them, a lot of times you'll get the money. Okay? Yep. So that's just one tool that it costs $20 one time for this tool.
Wow.
And you don't have to pay it every month or anything. And so that's just one of a bunch of things that are in this thing that have allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. Wow. And so the whole book is full of these things, including cell phone automation stuff and all the things that both this and your computer will do. If you just took a day or so on one of these items, it saves you hours and hours for the rest of your career. So you're crazy not to do it. So they can pick that up at screwthecommute.com/automate free. screwthecommute.com/automate free.
And what we'll do, guys, is we'll put the links below so that you can get access to that. And what I was going to say to you, first of all, I just want to say thanks very much, Tom. You've been a great guest, and we've had a lot of fun and a few laughs.
I didn't even get warmed up yet. Are you kidding?
But it's been great to have you on the show, and I just want to say thanks very much for today.
Oh yeah, my pleasure, man. Love it.
Very cool. And for you guys that are listening in, hope you've enjoyed our conversations with myself and Tom. If you would like to reach out to Tom, please do click on his links below. Just mention the Game Changers Experience podcast. They can put 2 and 2 together. And also take that opportunity, click, get that free, that download. I mean, I'm going to be doing that 100%. If it's going to help me save time, and it's going to help me increase my productivity, then for me, it's a no-brainer. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's show. See you back again on the next Game Changers Experience. Take care. See you soon. Cheers. Hey guys, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the Game Changers Experience. I would be gratefully appreciated if you could leave a good or a bad review. It doesn't matter, 1 or a 5-star review, whichever you prefer, on any of the platforms, whether it be on Apple, whether it be on Spotify, Podchaser, etc. And please leave a testimonial or review about our podcast. And if you have enjoyed our podcast, then I look forward to seeing you on the next Game Changers Experience. Take care. See you soon.